my resilience and my way of being comes from being able to look at myself and look at myself when I'm not having the great days, and being able to, and I'm learning about this more because I'm always used to holding space for other people, but being able to be led in holding space, because being led and allowing myself to be able to fall means that I'm falling in love with myself every single time. That's my resilience.
Thank you so much, Aisha, for joining me on this journey. This journey has been, I would say, long time coming. And I also I want to big up Anthony Lindsay, because without his connection, do you know what I mean?
Yes,
Without his
indeed.
connection, we would not have met. And yeah,
Indeed.
thank you for your time, your space, and all that wonderful stuff. And we are going to talk about your business and everything else. I'm just excited, really. I'm excited. You know,
Um,
before I press record, we were just talking, isn't it? And I said, like, me and you, it's dangerous. When me and you talk, we have to have put like a timer. Like it just has to be 1 hour. So, do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
do.
otherwise, I have you here all afternoon talking. Trust me.
Listen, gladly, gladly, because when you and I speak, I feel like I found like a kindred spirit.
Right.
That makes sense. I
Mm.
feel like I found a kindred spirit, and I'm like, oh, Queen can speak about this, and we can go here, and I love how you hold space with me. I love how you're willing to just speak about everything, you know? So I thank you, Queen. I thank you.
You're welcome, sis. You're welcome. So, who is Aisha Peters?
Woo! Where do I begin? I am divine being. I am divine being. I am love. I am the first eldest daughter to Elwin Peters, may he rise in power forever, and also first eldest daughter to Antoinette Hutchinson. This is Hutchinson, also known as Antoinette King, as well as the Bayesian side of the family, the Kings. I am mother, I am activist, I am healer, I am teacher. Um, you know, to add to if you want to call it the title, I am CEO and founder of a creative artist self-development company called VEWA Productions Ltd. So that stands for Vocal Excellence with Aisha. I am also CEO and founder of the community interest company that we will be speaking much about today, which is Damali Beautiful Vision CIC. And this community interest company I hold quite dear to my heart because it's in honor and manifested in honor of my belated daughter who passed 14 years ago, Damali Amanda Sala Peters. And yes, I am MOBO nominated artist. I am a Capital FM award winner, original member of the girl group Fierce, and I could go on and on. I am I am compassion and emotional intelligence activist as well within the community, and especially for the music industry, because the lack thereof in terms of care for mental and emotional health within the music industry. And I know and I understand that there are more discussions happening about that, and more so well-being is being integrated into the music industry. Um, and I like to quite think of myself as one of the pioneers for that.
You know what? I'm so that introduction is like I wish I had a do 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 do. Do you know what I mean? One of those trumpets, because that was a fire introduction. And as well as I say this, is that from that introduction, I'm saying to myself that there has been a lot of inner deep work done in order to be able to communicate that. Is that right?
I I agree with you.
Mm.
Yes, it's it's my journey is a very colorful, very colorful journey, and I'm in this place, and new things are happening nearly every day, and I'm still on this wonderful journey of work and doing more and learning about myself, but more so interestingly as well is learning about other people, right? Um, because I do not exist in this beautiful planet alone. And I'm very, very, I've always been interested in why people do the things that they do, how they feel, me being a natural nurturer, why they think the way that they do. And, I am part of the introduction I should have shared is that I've taken the journey in studying level 2 counseling skills, so holding space for other people in that realm, but also doing level 3 theory for counseling, so looking at different types of methodologies, method, methods, I should say, and formulas for psychotherapy as well. And I am still walking on the journey in terms of wanted to have my own practice in that way so that I can continue to support people because there is a lack of psychotherapists of color within the industry. So I want to be a part of that change. And the work in terms of what you're speaking about, I call it shadow work. Um, I am a light worker in terms of bringing positivity and shining the light, but I feel like in terms of where I am now, because of the deep inward reflection that I've been able to do within myself, and I continue to do because, as far as I'm concerned, the learning, the growth, the self development, the expansion, it's ongoing. It doesn't stop for me. I don't ever feel like just because I've achieved something that this is where I stop. I very much believe that I flow and I go with and surrender to wherever the divine, heavenly divine mother and father allow me to go or where they want me to go. And I do strongly feel that the work, the lessons, the blessings, regardless of whether I see them as negative or extremely challenging or not, it adds to um, you know, me being able to take up space in this world in the way that I do, you know? Um, Shadow work. I've studied shadow work on my own, just asking myself deep questions. Sometimes questions that a lot of people don't want to face and answer. It could be hurtful. It could be it's not exactly pretty. Let me just put it that way. And also through my counseling journey and gaining my certificates, there was a lot of shadow work and reflection that I had to do and ask myself some serious questions to unpack and unpeel the layers that often society influences us to have.
I love that you mentioned about shadow work. What type of questions have you asked yourself?
What scares you the most?
Oh,
What are you afraid of?
mm,
Do you believe that you are living up to everything that you set out for your own self? Not talking about what peers expect you to do, not talking about what your family members expect you to do, and or society, in fact, but are you being congruent, Aisha?
I love
And
that.
if so,
Being
yeah,
congruent.
and if so, how?
Mm,
How?
mm. Because some
Yeah,
of those questions, um, people might just want to cry because of that, maybe um, to forgive yourself for maybe not continuing what you feel that you should do or putting yourself in situations that you know that you shouldn't be part of. So sometimes it's not even words, it's sometimes a noise. Do you get what I mean in terms of your own work, And I can definitely, boy, hey, I can definitely testify to that.
yes. It's a beautiful journey when you are able to go through that and really it's not sitting with self, right? It's about really sitting with self and looking at self like who are you? Are you everything that you say that you are? Are you everything that you portray to the outside world, it can be really tough for people to answer that question because, you know, you can become a part of this cycle. Let's get up, let's go to work, let's do this, let's do that. So you're thinking about and you're doing for everything outside of yourself. And I'm victim to it.
Me too. Me too. And you know what? It's so lovely that you said you're victim to it as well, because when I speak about self-awareness, personal development, I do not put myself in the realm of a master. I am still a work in progress. Do you know what I mean? I am still working out the things that I need to do. Sometimes, as I said, the result may be a noise, it may be a sound. Do you know what I mean? Or it may be quietness type of thing, but I am definitely continually to be unfolding in what what my purpose is. I'm continually unfolding in it. I haven't arrived as yet. Do you get what I mean? I have not arrived.
And the question is I put this to you, because you said, question, the thing is, I haven't arrived yet. So is it about the arriving or is it about the journey?
True. Yeah, I
Because
make it right. Yeah.
when I mean, this is just in Aisha's world, in Aisha's mind, in Aisha's thoughts. If I've already arrived, then my question is, what am I doing?
Mm, I get you.
You know, you know.
Mm,
Um, the journey is continued, the journey is constant, and even if you feel like there's this that plateau that you've reached, the divine has a way of saying, "Hmm, there's just that little bit more. There's just that little bit more until time, until time. There's just that little bit more, you know." And being able to, I think, surrender. I love the word surrender. To be able to surrender to that and go with the flow with that, I think that's what life to me is all about. You know, and I've come to different at different stages of my life. I've come to that epiphany in different ways, and I might have thought of it in different ways or worded it in different ways, but it's just that, oh, okay.
it's
I
true.
get
Oh,
it.
okay.
I get it again. I get it
I get
again.
it now. And also the bit about when you said about surrender, and I also call it, I don't know if it's the same, acceptance, to
Mm.
accept where you are, um, not to push against, not to fall back, but to accept. So, in terms of that, what is your why? Because when I oh gosh, this podcast is just in me. You know, there's something that this podcast, long story short, has been a long time coming. And what's been interesting is that whilst it's been birthing and it continually is doing its thing, its magic, people around me are saying the words long story short. I'm seeing it on TV, I'm hearing it everywhere. So, my why with regards to this podcast is so that others can see themselves in the different stories that are shared, so that we're able to be edified, empowered, inspired towards positive action. Do you get what I mean? So, what is your why?
I have so many, but my main, it's not long. My main
Not
one,
a long one yet.
yeah, my main why is love.
Hmm.
Um, and I'll expand on that. You know, my main why is love because I am, I simply am. And in terms of my own spiritual learning of self, is that I am a star constellation that has come to experience love in its many layers, its many colors, and through being able to give without wanting anything back. And of course, if I get something back, it's beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah. In relation to why, in terms of my background in music, because I simply love to share my voice. I simply love to share my frequencies with people. I simply love to, when I sing and see a smile on someone's face, I'm seeing love. That's how I interpret it. When I sing and I've gotten this, and people are just like, ooh, that energy, that spark, it feeds a light of love into me. And it's this cycle, right? This 360 cipher, and it just goes round. Yeah. My purpose here in this realm is to simply spread as much love as possible.
Beautiful.
And it's not always going to be from my ward and my other son. It's not always going to be easy. Sometimes it may be quite challenging. My why in terms of VEWA Productions, LTDs, is to give love in terms of well-being and seeing others achieve. I like to see people win through their artistry, you know, nurturing that and supporting that and seeing it grow. Again, the basis of that is love, just simply love. Damali Beautiful Vision CIC, of course, is the love of my daughter, to honor her, but to also honor all the other beautiful brown babies and young adults who have passed and who are now in the ancestral realm. The Mali Beautiful Vision CIC is here because of love, because I am love.
I'm so glad that you lent into Damali Beautiful Visions. And what a beautiful name, Damali. You know, what does it stand for, Damali?
The Mali actually means beautiful vision, hence why.
Oh,
Yeah. So
okay.
the story behind it is that before Damali was born, I had a dream. I had a dream that I saw this beautiful baby with hair, just curly, curly black hair and dark, beautiful cocoa skin. And when she was born, so said, so so said, so done. Yeah, so said, so done. She literally came as that vision that I saw. So when I saw the name, I got this African naming book, right? And when I saw the name, I saw the name Damali. So I looked at the meaning and it said beautiful vision. So as I saw her beautifulness in the dream, it's so said, so done, because everybody that saw her was like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. So Damali means beautiful vision, but we also added the Damali Beautiful Vision for the CIC.
That it is such, I'm going to say the word, it is such a beautiful name, though. It really is Damali. Damali. It's got such a lovely sound to it. And I was thinking, as you are a creative artist, a musician, I bet when you say Damali, you see love and, do you know what I mean? Hope and everything. Beautiful. Such a lovely name, Damali. So what's
Thank you.
the mission statement behind Damali Beautiful Vision, CIC?
Yes, our mission statement is that we are here to support global majority community members who are processing, navigating their sudden bereavement process through long-term grief. It could be complex grief, but our key captions and mission statement within that is that we are here to bring compassion, empathy, and hold space for people with unconditional positive regard. So what when we say the words and we have in our mission statement unconditional positive regard, unconditional, meaning no matter what you're going through, because sudden bereavement, let alone bereavement or having someone who you loved passed away, it's very layered, it's very complex, it can be very difficult. And that comes with those family members who are going through that process in that time. They're not going to be themselves. They're not going to be themselves. They may not be nice to you. They may not speak nicely to you. They may not want you in their space, but silently knowing that they need someone to hold space for them. Feel me? And I put in our mission statement unconditional positive regard on purpose, in purpose, because I want everyone to know, those of our beneficiaries who come to us, who come in our space, you might not be feeling yourself. You may not even know how to interpretate or articulate how you are feeling. You may not have a smile on your face. And what we're saying is that no matter what, you have a space and a place with us. And we are creating safe pockets of space wherever and whenever you are with us. But what I want people to really have an understanding, and understanding about that is that we wish for you to have a safe space within yourself first.
A safe space within yourself first. And that's so important, especially going through the bereavement process. You know, I've been through it many, many, many times, and others as well close to me. What does Damali Beautiful Vision CIC help with that?
Yeah. In terms of finding compassion
Mm.
within self, I'm going to explain it from my perspective and my journey, and then I will express how that links to what we do, right? And how others within our space can find compassion within themselves. So, in terms of my sudden bereavement with my daughter Damali, I for a long time became a recluse from society. I didn't want to integrate into society. I didn't want to speak to anybody. I didn't want to be around anybody. Um, you know, even even seeing, and there's only a few people that know this, but I'm going to be honest because I feel like honesty is the only way that us as a people and even me can heal. I didn't want to be around young babies because it scared me. It scared me. I didn't want to be around young children because it scared me. Every young baby and every young child I saw just reminded me of my daughter, you know? And I became a prisoner. I became a prisoner because of the fear of potentially losing anyone else because I lost this young baby who's so precious to me, right? And I didn't go out, I didn't do anything. I did go through, you know, a low period where I was suffering with depression. But actually at the time of when I was going through it, I actually didn't realize that I was depressed. I didn't realize it. Um, I remember a good friend of mine, very close to the family. She had a community interest company that did arts and crafts. And she just said to me, you know what, Aisha? She was like, why don't you come? She didn't ask me to be a part of the attendees. She said, why don't you come and help? Why don't you come and help? And I was like, all right then. And it was cake baking and decorating. And I love it, right? So I did that, went to the sessions, did a good couple of sessions, and I barely spoke to anybody. I was there, but I barely spoke to anyone. I really just, the only person I would speak to was my friend. So I go in, I go out, do what I have to do. But over time, she invited me to another one. Over time, I started speaking to people. And what I realized now in reflection, I didn't notice it then, but now in reflection, what I realized is that I was starting to love myself because I was allowing myself to connect with other people. I wasn't doing it from a basis of fear. I was doing it through the basis of love. And then what I learned is that that is what's have that was allowing me to have compassion for myself, to say, I am worthy to be loved. I am worthy to be held in space by others. I am worthy to still have a happy life. I am still worthy. And so and I did other workshops with this community interest company as well. I want to say a huge big up to Mrs. Agbetu, also known as Sister Oleander. That's my good friend, and I love her. I love her so much. And thank you to her. Thank you to her for starting my journey, helping me to start my own journey of living again and giving myself compassion. How this relates to Damali Beautiful Vision CIC is that essentially the same methods of what she offered to me is what I'm offering in Damali Beautiful Vision CIC. So what we do mindfulness art, where it's a situation where our beneficiaries don't have to speak to other beneficiaries if they don't want to. It's nice if they do because they have something in common, right? They have something in common, but it's not a space where you're forced to. But if you do, and some of the workshops that I've supervised and attended, it's been beautiful. Having beautiful discussions with people who come from similar backgrounds and sharing, a similar journey in terms of the sudden bereavement of someone that they love, right? So we have mindfulness art classes, we have reflect and move. So the first art class is called Reflect and Paint. Then we have Reflect and Move. So we have Reflect and Move. You move through your healing, any blockages. Again, bringing that focus on self first before you give to anyone else. Because you cannot pour from an empty cup, right? There's that saying, you cannot pour from an empty cup. We also have Reflect and Breathe. So for me, in my journey of navigating sudden bereavement, I have challenges sometimes with anxiety. Yeah, anxiety. Um, it's also known in terms of the research and studies that I've done surrounding sudden bereavement is that family members who do lose someone or a child from sudden bereavement can suffer with lung issues after. A lot of people don't know that. So
Could you
for
say
me,
that again? I want you to say that again.
I'm going to say it again for people, family members, close friends who go through a sudden bereavement because it's shock. It's shock to the body. It's shock to the brain. Shock to the soul. You can often be later diagnosed with lung issues. So I know of someone who's a dad, I'm not going to name who they are, who's been through a lot of losses in terms of babies. They have chest issues, lung issues. I have been diagnosed with asthma. Yeah.
So,
And
wow. I
yeah, and anxiety. I've been dealing with anxiety. So reflect and breathe is part of being able to support you being in good flow. I'm not going to say control, but good flow of your breathing to help you regulate that.
Wow, I never knew that there was a correlation between sudden death of, is it a baby,
A family member, it could
a
be anyone.
family member, in relation to, and it affects your lung capacity, it affects that area. I
Yeah,
never knew that.
yeah. And I feel like you would have loved our open day that happened on the 9th of March because I did a presentation. So I've been studying and collecting data and looking at health related things in relation to sudden bereavement for years now, for years. And what I managed to do, I most probably have to edit and rearrange and change. What I managed to do is I managed to create a 10 page slide presentation and actually fit that type of information and data into the presentation. And everyone who came to the open day, they were like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Oh my gosh, I didn't know. I had no clue that bereavement, it's bereavement. But remember what Damali Beautiful Vision CIC are specifically catering to and looking at is sudden bereavement. So let me give you the layout. For me as a mum with navigating and processing sudden bereavement, I'm on the level of I had a home birth with Damali. So I saw Damali born, right? Being born, coming into this world. I also was the one that saw Damali take her last breath. So in relation to that, on the level of the psyche, that that it it's taken, and I'm still on the journey of still processing that. I saw all of that. I saw the life and I saw the transition. There are parents out there who who know their young child or young adult is going to pass. They get to say goodbye. But with my daughter, it was sudden. There's no time to say goodbye. And there are other parents and family members and siblings who are also in the same position, not being able to say goodbye. That's another added layer in terms of the bereavement and the grief itself. A lot of people are not aware as well and privy to the fact that with bereavement for women of color, the correlation to women of color being diagnosed with ADHD because of sudden bereavement too. Yeah, and
Wow.
there's a.
Going back in my chair. Wow.
I saw you lean right back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Because I want to know why. Why though?
Why is it that way? It's from what I understood, what I understand, it's how sudden bereavement has a traumatic effect, the shock effect, neurologically. Neurologically. And this is why I promote therapy. I promote therapy. I know that it's therapy, the basis of it in terms of what I've studied, and I know it's quite Eurocentric, it's quite male dominated in terms of the theory. However, the tools that we can extract as a people are quite useful. That's why I promote it. Also, under the umbrella of Damali Beautiful Vision CIC, what we are looking at, though, is really looking at how our beneficiaries get the support from a cultural perspective. All of our psychotherapists are of color, male and female, all trained, all qualified. I'm a trained counselor, as I've just said. So when I'm looking at hiring our staff members, I'm looking at what I know, what I've learned, and the quality of what they can bring to the platform. So we're also looking at that. We're looking at additional support from a cultural perspective, whether you are from the continent of Africa, Caribbean, you are Asian, you are of mixed heritage. You might have one parent who is from Britain or Europe or so, but you might have that other parent that is actually African or Asian or Caribbean. You, you are welcome. You're welcome here in this space. We want you to feel at home. We want you to feel like your cultural needs and your heritage is actually taken into consideration, because in my case, it really wasn't. And that's why we are here. I didn't get the support that I like I needed culturally. My family and I didn't get the support that we needed culturally, you know? And being here left without that support has, led me to experience, I experienced a breakdown. I very seldom speak about it, but it's the truth. It's the truth. you know a lot of our people are suffering silently with depression from losing a child, whether that child was stillborn as well. We're looking at natural causes, which is what my daughter passed away from. She had a seizure, passed away suddenly. But we're also looking at instances where young people are murdered. What about homicide? you know we have the young people, Princess Eliana Daniel Angerine, Stephen Lawrence, Damilola Taylor. All of this and more comes under our umbrella. We are a CIC, a community interest company that is quite layered in terms of how we can help and what it is that we're looking at, because my own experience is layered. We're welcoming the whole family, extended members who have lost a young child, a young adult, mothers, fathers, siblings as well.
Wow. Yeah, this subject, it's like we need a part 2, 3, and 4, because there's so much to unpack here and
Yes,
really useful information. And for those who are in need of bereavement counseling, who are in need of the services that you um, are offering, please contact Damali Beautiful Vision CIC. What about the siblings? Because sometimes the
exactly.
siblings, as we was having a previous conversation, do you remember when we were sort of like getting to know each other and stuff? And we were talking about a good maybe 20 minutes about what about the siblings. So what is your
Exactly.
experience of that?
Good question. Um, my experience often in this scenario, because there was another family who is close to me, my godbrother's family. Um, Within the year of Damali's passing, their son had also passed away a couple of months just before Damali, same age as well, 3 years old, similar circumstances. And they gave much support to us when we go through our journey. And what I found, speaking with people who have also lost babies and children or young adults, is the focus is mainly on the parents. So it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, you lost your baby, da, 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 da. And children, what about the children? They very seldom, they very seldom get acknowledged or spoken about, or you know how can we support the siblings, how can we support them and their journey. I made it as much as I could do, as much as I had the capacity to be able to hold space for my own children. And even now and they are all adults. So Damali had three siblings, older siblings. She was the youngest one. Even now, as adults, I still make it my duty to hold space for my children to discuss that. I still make it my duty. There are other people who don't know how to do that. What is the language? How do we approach it? And I say, just be open. Just be open. And for those of you who might be seeing this video later or whatever, is when you're acknowledging the parents about their loss, turn to the children and acknowledge them, hug them, take them out for a day, take them out for dinner, do something with them, or ask them if they want to do something in memory of their sibling. What about their perspective? And so for us with Damali Beautiful Vision CIC, which I think I was alluding to before you asked me the question, is that we look at the family, the units. It's not just about mamas and papas. No, it's about mother, father, siblings, grandparents, cousins, etc., etc. Because what I realized on my journey with my real eyes is that after a while of not speaking about what happened, we lost this beautiful soul, this beautiful angel, and coming back and having these beautiful relationships with my extended family and going through this journey, I realized that everyone was so affected deeply in their own way. It didn't show the same way, but they were deeply affected. I had one family member who one day was on the phone. This is years after, one day on the phone crying, sobbing. in tears because they couldn't find a picture of Damali. They were looking for a picture, just a picture. Hence why we are we're very pro children at Damali Beautiful Vision CIC. I believe that, you know, giving children the space to vent, be okay with them having tantrums sometimes, especially if they're really young and they've lost a sibling. Be okay with it. Be okay with it. It won't last long. It won't last long. Be okay with it. Ask them how they are feeling. Just say, how are you feeling? Are you feeling okay? Are you feeling good? Do you want to talk about it? Ask their permission as you would ask an adult. As you would ask an adult, ask their permission. Children are human beings just like us. They have feelings just like us. Just because you're an adult does not automatically put you at the point of authority. It doesn't. It really doesn't. You'll be surprised at how many children can teach you a thing or two. And that's what I have to say, because otherwise I'm gonna be on my soapbox. That's what I know.
Yeah.
I'll be on my soapbox all day.
It's the word that I'm looking for is, it's empowering to have these conversations, to know that we are not alone, that there is help out there, and just having, you know, a platform where you can talk about Damali Beautiful Vision CIC for other people to think, oh my gosh, I know Susie or Tommy down the road is going through this. Let me just send them an Instagram link or whatever. What's so lovely that you said is that you take into consideration the family. And I was on your IG page when you had the 90s or 80s karaoke. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
saw two children. I
the
saw,
90s. Yeah,
oh,
80s,
and I was
90s
like, that
karaoke.
is lovely. That is so lovely, because we do forget about them, that they are going through, and to ask questions as you would an adult. How are you feeling today? Just giving them an opportunity, you know, to learn to start talking about their feelings, to not have it so close to them that nobody
Yeah.
cares. I'm going to keep it down. Nobody needs to know anything. I'm just going to go through the day as I normally would, with a fake smile on my face, and everything's all right. But it's not.
Where do they
You know
learn
what I
that
mean?
from? And where do they learn that
Yeah, our
from?
parents. It's our environment. It's not helpful at
Right,
all, you know.
right.
So with regards to, you are a visionary leader, okay, you are a mother, you are a community activist, do you know what I mean? All of those wonderful things. So how have you navigated your resilience as well as leading um, people within your business?
Well, I think first and foremost is that I am still navigating. There are ebbs and flows. Let it be known. It's not always, no, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. No, I am still learning how to regulate. However, I think what it is that empowers me. There's this internal spark. I know my purpose. I know my purpose. And again, it goes from what I said, is to bring love. It's to bring this essence of love in its transparency. And that means that even when I'm not having a good day, I have to be real about it. And that's love. That's showing myself first and foremost love, to be authentically me, but also make it okay and give space for other people to be authentically themselves. How can we live? Honestly, how can we live? How can we do better? How can we ascend if we are not doing this for ourselves? My resilience and my way of being comes from being able to look at myself and look at myself when I'm not having the great days, and being able to, and I'm learning about this more because I'm always used to holding space for other people, but being able to be led in holding space, because being led and allowing myself to be able to fall means that I'm falling in love with myself every single time. That's my resilience. There's this way that I have, and I never used to recognize it before. I never used to accept it. I never used to surrender to it. I have this way of taking negative energy and the negativity and turning it and alchemizing it into something good. And I have always been that way as a child. It's one of my, if you want to call it superpowers, it's one of my divine powers. It's one of my divine powers. And I recognize that within myself. My resilience in being able to lead is that I'm a natural leader. I don't really like to follow the crowd. I'm not even going to say, I'm going to rephrase that. I don't like to follow the crowd. I don't follow the crowd. I'm okay with being seen, but also at the same time, I'm okay with being the leader and being the teacher, but I'm very much okay with being the student. And I think that's what makes me a great leader and a leader in the first place. Because if I'm above being coached, being tutored, if I'm above being a student, then I have no place in being a CEO or a founder. I have no place in being a leader. My resilience comes from being able to do the shadow in me first before I ever attempt to hold space for others.
You said it so neatly, and I just felt the passion and the power in your voice, you know. It is very much whoa, that's what that's the noise. I haven't even got a word. It's like, whoa. Do you know what I mean? It really is. What are your key takeaways as we're coming to the end? What do you feel are your key takeaways for people to remember about Damali Beautiful Vision CIC?
Compassion. We are here for compassion. We are here to give and hold space. We are here to see you and acknowledge you, not necessarily when you're smiling. No, we really are here to do the work. This is Damali Beautiful Vision CIC is everything that I know my daughter's energy is about. Nurturing, love, being able to hold people in space. You know, those who had the honor of meeting my daughter, um, they will sit and tell you, Sophia, that she's a very huge, like a huge soul, and there's a part of me that feels like she is a queen, you know. She's been here before. She had like a kind of like an old soul, if that makes sense. And everybody who met her mentioned that. And I feel like through Damali Beautiful Vision CIC, her energy still lives on, you know. That energy, that regal energy, that loving energy, that elder energy to say, you know, other people may not want you over there, but we welcome you here. We welcome you here.
Such a beautiful statement about being regal, um, and how she impacted many people in a short space of time, you know, and you are doing remarkable work. I so salute you, and I'm so inspired by this conversation. Yeah, I really am inspired by this conversation to know that you have gone through such a hard and difficult time, but still you are bouncing back. Still, you're able to serve and show love and support others, even though you've been through such a traumatic time in your life. And I don't know if I could, to be honest. And when you was talking about you didn't want to see anybody, you didn't say for how long, but I can imagine how long that could have been, years possibly. Okay, so many people still are within that space. They could have lost a loved one maybe 20 years ago, and still 20 years ago they are not part of this society Do you know what I mean? And that, as you said, it impacts your health and your overall health and well-being. So I just so commend you for what you are doing. What you are doing is amazing, and it is needed. It is so, 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 so needed. So what is the future for Damali Beautiful Vision CIC?
Oh gosh, we've got so so much
I
stuff
can
coming out.
imagine, yeah.
Is blessings upon blessings. We continue to be here. I mean, you know, you just mentioned about the 80s to 90s karaoke fundraiser, and Prince Akil, who you'll see in the video singing, he asked, you know, when are you going to do another one? Can we have another one? And I'm like, okay, we literally just finished this one today, and you're asking for another one. So we're hoping to bring it back and make it actually a regular thing. It will be um parents and children karaoke. That is the theme, to keep it children friendly, to know that they also are able to take up space as well in our community. We continue to have our Reflect and Move workshops, which are taking place at Hackney CBS in Boston every Monday in the evening. So be sure to go onto our website, or you can get your free tickets and sign up on Eventbrite into next year. Um, Hoping to get more funding, and we will
Sure.
continue with our workshops and the expansion of who we are and what we do.
Awesome. So what about your social media handles? What are they? So people can
So
get into
if you go
contact.
to Damali Beautiful Vision, minus the CIC, Damali Beautiful Vision. So at Damali Beautiful Vision, you'll see the brand, you'll see the blue and the white. You can connect with us there. We also have a YouTube as well channel, Damali Beautiful Vision CIC YouTube. And you can also find out a lot of different things about what Damali Beautiful Vision CIC are doing and what we're up to via my own LinkedIn page. And that's Aisha Peters on LinkedIn.